Good morning, and welcome to our opening launch event of the Festival of Careers. My name is Rebecca Conroy, and I should really give the event its full and glorious title, which is the utterly brilliant, weird and wonderful Festival of Careers, no less. And this is a really exciting event because we are streaming across Sussex using these wonderful immersive facilities, immersive classrooms that the FE colleges through FE Sussex were really successful in bidding for and installing across 15 different campuses. So this is a really unique event, certainly for Sussex, possibly even for the UK. We're not sure, but we feel quite confident that we're groundbreaking in this type of immersive and connected experience. So we can see rooms filling up across Sussex, and I want to welcome not only our wonderful students in the room, but our students across Sussex to this event, which is, as I say, the launch event, one of 5, and we've got some really incredible guests lined up to really share their experiences, to bring some of this wonderful equipment and kit to life, to share what they've been doing, and I hope you really do get lots out of it. And we're streaming live on YouTube and Twitch, so hello to our wonderful viewers all over potentially the world. And again, this is about how we bring people together, how we bring our tech and our experiences together to enrich and help everybody understand different experiences, different careers, different opportunities. So it really is phenomenally exciting. Delighted to launch this event in our East Sussex College campus in Lewes, and look forward to further events across Sussex. And without further ado, I'm delighted to welcome our wonderful first guest, an experienced augmented reality expert who has hundreds of thousands of social media followers and fans. He documents his scuba adventures using amazing kit, which I know he's going to tell us all about. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome Gio Prince to East Sussex College Lewes, for him to show us some of his amazing adventures and help bring it to life. And there'll be a Q&A afterwards. But without further ado, can we all warmly welcome Gio Prince?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm actually really buzzing to be talking about fish live, because I usually just do it for a screen. So it's really cool to be doing it right here with you. So should we get the PowerPoint up? Then we can start talking. So my name is Josue. I am originally from Italy, actually, as you can tell from the name. And I've been diving pretty much my whole life. So I started diving when I was 11 in the really clear waters of the Mediterranean. Started my journey in Italy. And I've only really been diving here in the UK for the past 5 or so years. So usually, from when I started diving, when I got my open water, I would only ever dive when I was at home in Italy or going on holiday. That's me. If we go to the next slide. There we go. That's me in Hove. But yeah, as I said, I started my journey in Italy. And 5 years ago, I started working at Brighton Water Sports on Brighton seafront. And that really introduced me to UK wildlife and getting out there. So every time I'd go out on my shifts, I'd be doing paddleboarding and kayaking sessions. And usually before, I thought that the waters around the UK were always murky, brown. There was nothing really to see. That you'd have to go abroad to see anything cool. And working at Brighton Water Sports has helped me to change that stigma about myself and then share it with people through social media. So through my sessions, I would occasionally see seals, dolphins. Sometimes I'd be kayaking out and the water would be crystal clear. So I decided to dive in and see what I could find locally. And even though I'm a scuba diver, so I'm a dive master myself, I'm a PADI ambassador diver. And from this year, I'm really excited actually to be a columnist for the Oceanographic magazine, which is really exciting. But yeah, so in the last 5 years, I've made so many cool discoveries around UK waters. That picture there, as I said, it was in Hove. The camera setup that I use in all of my videos is literally just either a GoPro or an Insta360 action camera. So a lot of the videos will look like they're incredible quality with massive setups, but that is literally all that I use. All of the films that you would have seen, if you've seen any of my videos, I've filmed with that. And I am a massive, massive fan of sharks. The passion for sharks and for the ocean in general for me started when I was a baby. I mean, I don't remember it, but according to my mum, it was Finding Nemo that started this passion, which I was 2 years old when it came out. And I used to watch it on repeat. And growing up, I used to watch a lot of SpongeBob. One of my favorite video games was Endless Ocean on the Wii. So I've always been around the sea and around ocean stuff. So I've always been a massive fan of sharks. And luckily, the UK is actually probably one of the best places in the world, definitely the best place in Europe to see sharks, which is quite hard to believe. But all of these pictures, which are screenshots from videos actually, I've filmed in the UK. That is me filming a blue shark. And blue sharks are probably the coolest sharks that you can swim with in UK waters. So we're lucky enough to have over 30 species of sharks that either live here or come and visit our waters in the summer months. And the blue shark is one of our seasonal visitors. And if you want to see blue sharks yourself, you can head down to Devon, Cornwall, or Pembrokeshire down in Wales. And there are tour operators that will take you out 10 to 30 miles out to look for these sharks. And the interactions that you will have with blue sharks are some of the best interactions you will have with any animal in the world. They're pelagic. They're a pelagic species. So chances are for their entire life, they would have not really seen any humans. So every time you go out looking for these sharks, there's a good chance that the shark has never seen not just the human, but for the past few days, they might have not seen anything in the water, which means when you jump in, they're going to come and check you out. And I've had some really cool encounters with blue sharks before. I've had them bump me, touch me in the legs, play with my fins. And I've had one actually bite my GoPro stabilizer, which is really cool. And during one of my blue shark tours, I encountered that guy there. Apparently, more people have been to space than have been in the water with that shark over there. That was in Cornwall, as all these pictures are in Cornwall. And that is a porbeagle shark. And if you look at that picture, that looks like a great white. They're very, very similar, and they are very closely related. They're in the same order of sharks. And they've got that big black eye. And compared to blue sharks, so you're swimming with the blue sharks and they're slow and gentle, and they're coming in and swimming right next to you and checking you out. These guys just come in, they'll circle you, they'll check you out and then leave. And then maybe they'll come back again, but usually they're quite scatty compared to the blue sharks. And there's a lot of talks about great white sharks in England. Is there great white sharks in UK waters? We don't really know. There's not really been any sightings, any official sightings, but all of the people that have seen great whites in UK waters, chances are it's either a porbeagle shark, which is very similar, or the second biggest shark species that we have in the world, that we have in UK waters, which is the basking shark, which is another species in the same order as the porbeagle and the great white shark. They're plankton feeding, so they're a filter feeder. They're 10 meters long, so they do look quite intimidating, but they are completely harmless. But if we go to the next slide, coastal sharks. So these are the sharks that, if you guys want to go and check out our seas, these are the sharks that you're very likely to encounter just off the shore. Because obviously for blue sharks and porbeagles, you have to go quite far out, and the chances of seeing them are not 100%, especially if you're not like a confident swimmer or diver. But these sharks, realistically, if you've swam anywhere around the Sussex waters, there's a very good chance that you've swam above one of these sharks, most likely that one. That there is one of my favorite animals. In fact, it's probably my favorite animal at the moment. That changes every week. That is a small spotted cat shark. There is a lot of debate about what their name actually is. So a lot of people call them dogfish. Still to this day, mainly fishermen call them dogfish. They are a shark. They are in the cat shark family, which is why the scientific community agrees on calling them small spotted cat shark. But if you want to call them dogfish, you can call them dogfish. They only grow to about 1 meter long. And that over there is their closest relative, the nursehound shark or the bullhuss. The only really way you can tell the difference between the two species is you can see on this picture of the nursehound, you can see nasal flaps. That's the only way you can tell the difference other than the size, because the nursehound is quite a lot bigger. In fact, they actually feed on small spotted cat sharks. And these two coastal species, alongside spur dogs, for example, which are a real dogfish, a true dogfish, They all can be found in very close to shore in the UK. So whenever I go out in Sussex waters, the only shark I've actually seen in Sussex waters is the small spotted cat shark. We do get nurse hounds and we do get spur dogs, but they tend to be a little bit further out and they're a bit rarer to see. I know people that have seen them, but for me, I tend to see small spotted cat sharks on almost every dive. And there's been dives that have been out there that I've seen about 100, 150 small spotted cat sharks, all either swimming around, mating, feeding. It's really cool. And I've seen them I've seen in Lancing, Worthing, Shoreham, further west, Bognor. But it's really cool to see sharks so close to shore here in our waters. It's amazing. Unfortunately, a lot of our local sharks, they're sold in fish and chip shops under completely different names. The problem with that is that you don't really know what the species is that they're selling because then they're selling them under different names. Huss, dogfish, flake, rock salmon, rock eel. If you see any of those in fish and chip shops, that is sharks. You don't know exactly what species. A lot of the time, I'm assuming here in Sussex, it's probably small spotted cat sharks because they're so abundant. But a lot of the times, spur dogs and nurse hounds, which are vulnerable species, do get sold as well. So you don't really know what you're eating if you're getting rock salmon, rock eel. So yeah, just so you're aware. And if you go on the next slide, there are other elasmobranchs. So elasmobranchs is the family that sharks and rays belong to. There's very little differences between sharks and rays. Obviously, they look completely different. Rays are flat. They're basically pancake sharks. The main difference is the gills. Rays have gills on their underside, whereas sharks have them on their sides. And these three pictures of three different species, and I've filmed all three of them in Sussex waters. I think all three of them. No, those two were definitely in. No, all of them. All of them were filmed in Bognor, actually. That is an ungulate ray, which has just been reclassified actually as near threatened from vulnerable, which is really good. I usually see a lot of juveniles down in Worthing and Lancing, only tiny ones. There's a lot of mystery about their babies because no one's ever seen them being born in the wild, which is something I would love to see because having seen loads of juveniles around Lancing and Worthing, I feel like eventually in the future I might come across an egg with a baby in there. That there is a thornback ray, which is related to the ungulate ray. So ungulate rays and thornback rays are skates, which are they're rays. Essentially, the difference between stingrays and skates is that skates lay eggs, and you'll find those egg cases washed up on the beach quite a lot, especially in Brighton after big storms. And stingrays over here, so that's a common stingray, and I've seen the biggest common stingrays I've ever seen have been here in the UK. So where I dive in Italy, we do get the exact same species, but they just don't get quite as big as the ones that we get in Bognor. They usually come in around April, May, and they are mind-blowing seeing them because the water is usually about 2 meters deep and you're just swimming around and then you just come across this massive thing. And you look at the shore and you can see buttlands at the same time. So it's a crazy juxtaposition there. But stingrays give birth to live young. And yeah, we have stingrays here in Sussex, which is incredible. And if we go to the next slide, I started a hatchery project 2 years ago with at my work at Brighton Water Sports, which is right next to the sea, which made it so easy for water changes. The reason why I started this hatchery is because our seabed is not great. It's not great at the moment. So every time there's a storm, everything gets washed up to the beach, unfortunately. Most of the things that get washed up are dead, but a lot of cuttlefish eggs get washed up between May and early August. Although I have to say, after that big storm we had the other day, I did find my first batch of cuttlefish eggs. They were dried up, but never found them so early in the year. But overall, yeah, we had about 130 baby cuttlefish that we raised and hatched at Brighton Water Sports. There's a picture of all of them hatching, and they usually would hatch at night. But it's incredible. They're not a very easy species to have in captivity. As soon as they're born, I released them into the sea. But there had been occasions where I went to work the next day and the whole hatchery was just full of babies. But the most exciting thing that I found in July of 2 years ago was this shark egg case over there, alive. So I find, as I said before, you find mermaid's purses, which are the egg cases of sharks and rays, washed up on the beach all the time. But most of the time, the sharks would have already hatched. This time, I could see the yolk sacs still in the egg case, and I could see a tiny little thing moving in there. You couldn't really, I mean, I've never had a saltwater aquarium. I didn't know whether it was going to be a successful thing to do, because the cuttlefish eggs, as soon as you put them in the hatchery, within a couple of days they'll hatch. With sharks, I mean, sharks and rays, they can take anywhere from 3 to 9 months to hatch. So it was a gamble. I took a piece of old fishing gear that I found washed up, hang it into the hatchery, and I put the egg case in there. And then every other day I'd go in, I'd change the water and see if anything would happen. And you'd see it grow, and it was really cool to see throughout the summer, because we found them in July, and throughout the summer you'd see the progress and the shark getting bigger and bigger until eventually it hatched. And it hatched in late October, so the water was already quite murky, so I couldn't take him on a dive and release him like I wanted to. But still, to get a shark that I found on Brighton Beach to grow inside the egg case and then releasing it was a fantastic experience, one of the best experiences of my life. His name's Lenny, and to this day, actually, after I've made this PowerPoint, I found 3 live shark eggs, which are now in the hatchery at Brighton Water Sports. They're all 3 at completely different stages. One of them is you could just see the yolk sac. One of them is maybe about a month old, and then the other one's at least a couple of months old, because you can already see the gills and the fins and the eyes, which is really cool. So realistically, they're probably going to hatch in the summer, which is going to make it a lot easier to then release them when they come out, because hopefully I can take them out on a dive. But super cool. And there is future hope for other animals, because a lot of the times we find squid eggs washed up as well. I've never tried raising squid eggs. I'm not sure how easy it is, and I don't know if anyone else has ever tried doing that. But we do usually around April, you get quite a lot of squid eggs washed up on the beach. They sort of look like giant white fingers. I'm going to try and do that this year if I do find any this spring. It should be a really cool project to do. And then chances for ray eggs. I actually see more ray egg cases than shark egg cases wash up, believe it or not. But they're almost always empty. I found a couple that had rays still in there, but they were unfortunately dead. But there is definitely hope, because just as I found the sharks still alive, I could so easily find thornback rays or undulate rays, and it would be really cool to be able to raise one of them, because the babies look so cute. And if you go to the next slide, we've got quite a lot of marine mammals. I said earlier about the bottlenose dolphins that I saw whilst I was working at Brighton Water Sports. There is the Sussex Dolphin Project as well, which great people, and I've done a tour with them before. They do wildlife tours. You're not guaranteed to see dolphins in Sussex. In fact, you're very, very unlikely to see one on the tour, but there is that chance. And we do have a handful of species of dolphins. We have bottlenose dolphins, which, though actually the bottlenose dolphins that we have in the UK are the biggest bottlenose dolphins in the world. That's because they're used to our cold waters, and they're a lot bigger. Their blubber makes them a lot bigger. But we also have common dolphins. That's a common dolphin that I saw in Cornwall. Now, you're not allowed to swim with dolphins, with cetaceans in general in the UK, but I have been really lucky. During one of the blue shark tours this year in September, I had a pod of common dolphins approach me underwater whilst I was with the sharks, which was really cool, which also kind of busts the myth of sharks and dolphins hating each other and being in the same place, not being in the same place at the same time. The sharks were there, and they really did not care that dolphins were there. And same thing with the dolphin. They're going for the same food, but they literally didn't care about each other. So that's common dolphins, which, even though they're called common dolphins, here in Sussex, you're more likely to see bottlenose dolphins than you are to see common dolphins. But if you see common dolphins, they're usually in big pods, whereas bottlenose, usually here in Sussex, I've seen them in threes. Most people see them either individually or in threes. We also have white-beaked dolphins here, and the smallest species of cetacean that we have is the harbour porpoise, which is one of the cutest cetaceans in the world. And once I found a harbour porpoise washed up by the West Pier that had rake marks all over its body, which suggested most likely had been killed by bottlenose dolphin. They are ruthless, bottlenose dolphins. Seals, I see them all the time. I see them when I go paddleboarding, kayaking, just off the beach. Last one I saw was 2 days ago. I went down to the beach to collect some egg cases and see if anything else had washed up. And there was a big seal. There's a local seal called Clive that's been hanging about quite a bit. He was on the actual beach in the summer. I see them all the time, and there's some really cool hot spots, which I'm not going to mention, in Sussex where you can find seals. You can find loads of seals. The best place in the country, though, which is where I took that. So that's me diving with seals in Lundy Island, which is North Devon. If you get a chance to go, definitely go, because it's an incredible place. Beautiful kelp forests. There's over 180 seals over there, which is amazing. You get in the water, you can't approach seals. Don't approach seals. Don't try and touch seals. But if you're swimming, they will come and find you. And if you see one, the best thing to do is ignore them. If you swim away from a seal, it will most likely chase you. And that's what was happening here. I was just swimming. I was minding my own business, and this seal came over and started biting on my fins, pulling on my fins. And it's funny because a lot of the time you're just swimming, and you can feel something pulling on your fins, and you turn around and there's nothing there because they're so fast. But they're really cool. I'd say on par with the blue sharks, they're probably the animal that I love diving with the most. And as I said, never seek the encounter yourself. Always try and swim, do your own thing, and then the seals will come and find you. But that's it. Sussex, I'd say Sussex is a great place for seals. But in terms of other marine mammals, you might have heard recently of that humpback whale that's been spotted quite a lot. There's over 50 sightings in Sussex actually recently. Last year there was a couple of humpback whales spotted. I remember when the news came out, I was in shock at first, and then now it's happening so often that it's not even shocking anymore. But it's incredible to have these massive animals, one of the biggest animals in the world, to come in our waters and to be able to see them from the shore. So loads of people would take a coffee and walk along Seaford Beach and see this humpback whale breaching out of the water, like something you would see in the other side of the world in Tonga. So crazy. And then minke whales as well. Minke whales are one of the smallest baleen whales, and there's been sightings of minke whales in Hastings last year, which is really cool. It's really cool whenever our seas gets incredible sightings like that. Let's go on the next slide. And there we go. That's me as a baby holding a shark. And then that is me whilst I was doing my open water diving course in Sicily. Completely different diving conditions there. And actually the dives that I do here in Sussex, and all the videos that you'll see from Sussex and even from Cornwall, just any videos that you'll see of me here in the UK, the vast majority of them, I am actually free diving. So what I do is I go straight from the shore, I swim out about 1-2 miles, and anything I see, I just go down and breath hold and film it. But it sounds probably more extreme than it is, because the deepest I've been in Sussex is probably about 8.5 meters, which is quite deep, but it's not as deep as you would think a mile out. And I know I make it look very glamorous, but a lot of the time, I could be out for 4 hours and we'll see like one stingray and loads of cat sharks. The cat sharks are there all the time, but to see anything else, you have to be really, really lucky. And I very much do trial and error. I go out with one of my good mates most of the time, and we go out and sort of explore and see what we can find. And it's really cool because it sort of feels like pioneering in a way, because I would go in beaches that maybe no one's even thought about getting in the water, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go in here and see if I find anything. And a lot of the time, I don't find anything. It's just sand and rocks. But you never know unless you try. So I've tried Pagham, I've tried Lancing, I've tried Worthing, I've tried Seaford. Saltdean, Brighton. Some places are good, some places are really bad, some places are average. So just luck of the draw, really. I think next we're going to go in some videos. We'll do the questions after. And there's some videos that I filmed that I think... No, that's back at the start. Do I press this? Yeah. Okay, and these are the blue sharks I was talking about earlier. So this was in September this year in Cornwall. Approaching sunset, these are two beautiful small blue sharks. A lot of the blue sharks that we get here are quite small, actually. If you want to see big ones, I'd go more in the Azores. But we do get occasionally big 9-10 foot blue sharks come by. and they do come right next to you. They really like to. They've got electroreceptors in their snouts called ampullae of Lorenzini, and they really like to rub their noses against cameras. So a lot of the time they do come close, and sometimes a little bit too close. Like the one I said a couple of years ago, I've had one come in and sort of give a nibble to my camera stabilizer. But in terms of them being dangerous, harmless, you're pretty safe when you're swimming with them. They have sharp teeth. They are big enough to do damage, but most of the times they won't do that. But there you go, blue sharks. And I think now we've got questions come out after each video. So, I mean, if any of you wants to come and do I press that for the questions, right? Is that right? Do I have any volunteers come up to do some of the questions? Well, let me do the first one at least. Easy. I've literally just said the answer to this one. I'll press this one just because it's the first one, but this was obviously filmed in Cornwall, as I mentioned, as the video was playing. And then after that, is it the side button? Where is it? Yeah, that's right. And we'll go in the next one then. And there's Lenny. That's a picture of Lenny there as well. Let's have a look. And there you go. That's a small spotted cat shark that I filmed in Bognor this year. The camera sound is still on that one. But does anyone want to come here and push? We go volunteer. Oh, sorry, I can't see you with the light. Come along. So if you press that button, the question comes through. Okay, how many species of sharks are there? Any guesses in the world? Yeah, you go on. I'll to see if that's right. Well done. Well done. I have to go and press the X though, yeah? Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, we'll go in the next one, next video. And this was in November actually. Usually our diving season here ends in September, maybe early October. This was November this year, mid-November as well. And it was in where was it? Lancing. This was in Lancing, and that's a small thornback ray. I was quite surprised to see actually. There was loads of shark activity going on this day. This was about 3/4 of a mile out, and I just saw the big shape under me, which is really cool. But they have this beautiful pattern on their skin, and unlike stingrays, as I said, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, they don't actually have a stinging spine. So there you go, thornback ray. Any volunteers for the next question? Anyone wants to come up? If not, I'll just press the button. No, I'll press the button. Yes. Okay. Let's see what the next question is. I don't actually know myself. Yeah, just that button over there. Let's have a look. What is the heaviest bony fish in the world? I'll say so. This is a species. Well, a species of this animal can be found in UK waters, and I've seen them off Cornwall. Yeah, you want to go for it? Yeah, that's right. Well done. Here in the UK, we actually have the ocean sunfish. If I was doing this talk maybe in the summer, I would have said they were my favorite animals. My favorite animal is normally the animal that I'm seeking out at that point in time. If I'm looking for sunfish, that'll be my favorite animal until I find one. I didn't actually find one in the summer, so that's going to be my goal for next year. But I have seen sunfish before. I've seen them in Italy just before a dive, and I've seen them in Cornwall just from the boat, though. I really want to see one underwater. And I know people have seen them here in Sussex as well. I know people have seen them whilst kayaking by the Brighton Marina Wall. The ones that we get in the UK are quite small. They're usually about 1 meter in diameter, which is still quite big. And what you will see, a lot of people think it's a shark because a lot of people will just see the fin and going like this on the surface. And yeah, they look if you don't know what they look like a giant dinner plate with 2 fins, or they look like a shark that's been cut in half almost. They're cool. They're really cool, and not the most intelligent animals. They give birth to millions of babies because they're so small, they're planktonic when they're born. And most of them will probably get eaten up by whales or anything else, really. And then give them a few years, they'll grow, and then they become this enormous giant fish, which is really cool, and it's one of my favorite animals. But I used to say to my mum when I was a baby that I used to be a sunfish in my previous life. I remember when I went to an aquarium in Italy on my 5th birthday, and I went mental when I saw sunfish, saying it was me. Okay, so next one we have. This was recent. This was really recent. This was a couple of months ago. I was swimming around a resort in the Maldives, and there's blacktip reef sharks in the Maldives. You are very likely to see blacktip reef sharks in the Maldives, wherever you are. Even if you don't get in the water, they really come close to shore. And a lot of the times you'll just see like the bait fish in the shallows and the blacktips chasing them. This one here was really bold, so they're really shy towards humans. But this one here came right up to me in the blue because they normally stay on the reef, and started basically chasing me because he was circling me. And then as soon as I started swimming away from him, he turned around and stayed quite close to me. Honestly, they're not scary. They're not scary at all. They've never killed a human before. There's a handful of attacks, but none of them have been fatal. And I'm a lot bigger than him as well. He's about a meter long, so I wasn't scared, but I thought this was a really cool encounter to get this close to a blacktip reef shark. Do we have any volunteers for the next question? No, no one. All right, I'll do it myself then. So I'm going to go in the shadow for a bit. Well, let's see what the next question is first. It's not coming up. No? Okay, well, we'll go on the next one. So the next clip is... And this is the one I was talking about earlier. This is the poor beagle shark that came out of nowhere. So this was actually the first time ever I'd been out with blue sharks. We were 30 miles out. We were out in the blue, and we hadn't seen anything yet. I think I spent about 10 minutes in the water just looking at nothing, just blue. Occasionally a jellyfish would cruise by, but it's just nothing. It's just blue under you. It's blue everywhere. You can't even see land. You're that far away from the shore. And then I heard some from one of the girls that was in the tour. And this shark just appeared and started circling me really close. And then he got to this stage. You can see the iconic fin out of the water. And I got this film of it. And I would say this is probably the most special moment for me in UK waters, to see a poor beagle, because this is like a bucket list animal for me, and an animal that I would say is quite unrealistic to spot. There's so many animals that are so much easier to see. I've never seen a great white shark on the water yet. I've seen tiger sharks, whale sharks. I've seen so many different shark species. I've never seen a white shark, and it's not really easy to see because there's not that many of them. We do have them in the Mediterranean, but there's only like a couple of hundreds of them in there, so it's not going to be an easy thing to do. Poor beagles, that's the closest thing at the moment. That's the closest thing I have been to seeing a great white shark in the wild. I need to head to South Africa or California, but for UK waters, this is as close as it gets, and it was an incredible experience. And I know people that have seen them in our waters here in Sussex. In fact, you're more likely to see a poor beagle in Sussex than you are to see a blue shark. They are around. I know at least one has been caught in Brighton last year. I know people that have seen them underwater. It would be, I have to say, this is in a different context. I'm out in the blue, I'm looking for sharks, and a shark turns up, so it's all good. But if I'm just swimming here off the shore and this comes and circles me, I reckon I'd be it would be like a jump scare for a little bit, but I hope that happens. I really pray for that to happen. Let's have a look at what the next question is, unless anyone decided that they want to come up and just press the button. Yeah? No, okay, all right, I'll do it. Let's see what the next question is. Isn't it not working? Oh, there we go. What is the biggest animal found in UK waters? Which one? Okay. Do you want me to press that? Okay. Do you want to go up and press it? You sure? You're gonna do it. She said basking shark. Yeah, we going for you okay with that? No. Well, okay. Well, do you want to try? Yeah, before I say the answer, do you want to try a different one? Close. I think close. I think I just have to do it again. Okay. Um. Well, yeah, that is right. Yeah. So the fin whale. Well done. The fin whale is a species. Let me just close this. The fin whale is the second largest animal on the planet. They can grow up to 25 meters long, and they are present in UK waters. They've been seen. Most people see them down west. With any of our local animals, majority of the sightings will be down west. And yeah, the massive animal. They look like a blue whale. They're just not quite as blue and not quite as big, but they're still the second biggest animal out there. The other options there was leatherback sea turtle was one of the options, and that is the biggest turtle in the world, and that's the only turtle species that you are meant to see in UK waters. And I say you're meant to because a lot of the times you do come across strandings of other species, but they're not meant to be here. Sometimes they just get a bit lost in the current, and they're not meant to be here in the cold waters. But leatherback sea turtles do. They like to eat jellyfish. They have a very creepy looking mouth. I don't know if you ever seen a picture of the mouth of the leatherback turtle. It's made so that they could eat jellyfish. So it's not very nice to look at, but they are a beautiful giant sea turtle. And once again, I know people who have seen them. I know people who have seen them in Sussex as well, which would be incredible to see one because they are huge. I've seen green sea turtles. I've seen hawksbills. I have seen the what do you call it in English? The loggerhead sea turtles in the Mediterranean, but I've still never seen a leatherback, which I would love to. And you said basking shark, which are the biggest fish that lives in UK waters. So we were close enough with that one. They only go to about 10 meters long, so they're about half the size of a fin whale, but they're still huge, massive fish. Let's have a look at what's next. Oh, we got the game. We got the Lenny game, but this time I'm actually gonna need like at least 5 people coming up. It's a game. So, oh, you have to. Yeah, we can play it together. And obviously, it's a touch screen game. So all you have to do is touch all the sharks are in the screen, and you get more points if you touch Lenny, which is the small spotted cat sharks. Do I press anything for the game to start? Press the fish over there. There you go. Spread out and catch them. Yeah, 5 points for Lenny over there. We got a minute. I don't know how many points I got earlier when we were doing the trial. If there's any picture, I'll have a look. There we go. 415 out of 20. I think that's I think that's pretty good. Well done. Well done. And that is it. I think this is an AR you can see like animals in 3D. I think if you use that, which is pretty cool. And I think now we can go to the questions. If anyone's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. Yes. Have I seen a snapping turtle? No, I've never actually seen one. I'm more into saltwater, but saying that, I am going to do not that I'm going to see any snapping turtles, but I'm doing a freshwater dive soon, very soon, in the next couple of weeks, here near London, actually. It's going to be really cool to film. Hopefully see some pike. But no, I've never seen a snapping turtle. Any others? Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the places that I've dived Well, recently, I seen the place I've dived the most consistently is here. So every year you can sort of make a judgment of how different it is. I have to say that in the last 4 or 5 years, I haven't seen that much of a difference, neither positive or negative, on the seabed or on life that I've seen out there. You do occasionally see, for example, I remember here in 2021 and 2022, we had so many sea gooseberries, which are like these tiny, almost jellyfish looking like animal. We had like massive, loads and loads of them come in. And then the past couple of years, I've not seen any. So you do just have these changes over the years, but I think you'd have to do it over a longer period of time to actually know exactly what's going on out there. But in the last 4 or 5 years, only slight changes, I would say. And you had a question as well. We had someone. Oh, sorry. I've ever had to redirect a shark. You know what? You don't. A lot of the times you don't actually have to. So I'll give you an example. I was diving at Shark Tank in the Maldives, which is a spot which has become quite famous recently because there's been a couple of incidents. You might have seen a video going around of a lady with a silly hat being bitten in the head. Nothing happened. The shark didn't actually fully close the jaws, but there has been a couple of incidents there. It really depends. If you sort of know how to dive with sharks, then you don't really have to. It's happened. I had one occasion where I did it with a blue shark, but that's it. So I did that dive at Shark Tank, and I think I saw the exact same tiger shark because there's about 5 tiger sharks that go around. And compared to I dived with tiger sharks in Formula, which is also in the Maldives. The behavior of these sharks at Shark Tank was a little bit wild. You're sort of swimming around and they just sort of sneak up near you, and all you have to do, they basically tell you to do, you face the shark and you sort of swim towards it instead of swimming away from it, and usually they'll come right up to you and then they'll turn around last second. They didn't really like that confrontation quite as much, but no, I've not had to really redirect any. I've never been in like a threatening situation with a shark. Even when that blue shark was biting my stabilizer, I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like the shark wanted to eat me. So luckily, I've not had any negative encounters with any sharks. Any more questions in the room? Yes. Plants. That's a really good question. So this time of year, it's quite quiet. I went rock pooling yesterday actually, and in terms of plant life, it was really quiet. There's some serrated rack, different types of racks in there, sea lettuce, but not a lot of it. In the summer, especially down west, the vegetation is beautiful. Here, I actually enjoy diving around the kelp forests here as much as I do going to like the Maldives or the Bahamas in tropical climate. I don't know, there's something about just swimming through the kelp which is so amazing. And unfortunately, here in Sussex, we don't really have a lot of it as much as there should be. There is Bognor Rocks is one of my favorite spots to dive here. And you do have like a little patch of kelp there, which is really cool to see. And it's nice to see like the sharks swimming through that kelp. But usually down west it gets amazing. Like Castle Beach in Falmouth is really good. You get some really nice kelp forests, and it's really cool to film. I absolutely love doing that. So yeah, kelp. You get sugar kelp. We get different types of laminaria. Laminaria digitata. There's different species. It's really cool to see the plants that we have in the UK. And actually, fun fact, you can technically eat all the seaweed that we have in our waters. None of it is poisonous, so that's pretty cool. It's a little fun fact for you. Any other questions? Oh, yes. My favorite shark. I thought there was going to be a video of it. I've seen whale sharks, and they're my favorite animals. They were my favorite animals until I saw them, but they're still up there. I've had really cool encounters in the Maldives. So I was staying in South Ari recently, which is the only place in the world where you can see whale sharks all year round, because there's different hotspots for them, but they're quite seasonal. Here at South Ari, you can see them all year round, and I've had some really crazy encounters with them because there's a lot of boat operators there that will sort of get like a big group of people out and everyone's sort of there chasing the sharks. But I've had encounters with whale sharks where I was completely on my own with the whale shark, and it sort of cruised past me, which has been amazing. And I've got a tattoo. I've got a tattoo of a whale shark here. And this was one that I've seen. That's the first one I've ever seen. This at the time was the best moment of my life. I was in Indonesia in the Gili Islands, which is not really known for whale sharks. And I was going to do my my safety stop, and then this big figure sort of swam past, and it was incredible. One of the best moments out there in my life. Yeah. Hello.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
No worries at all. Thank you for having me.
I'm keen that we
Shall I
go
pass you the mic?
Yes, that'd be great. Wow. I've learned so much. We're keen that we get all of our other immersive rooms involved as well, because we know that they have loads of questions as well, Gio. So we're going to go live to Plumpton first. So Plumpton, can we ask you to come off of mute? And can you share a question for Gio? I'll hand the mic back to him.
Is that audio?
Who has a question for Gio?
Yeah, I've got a question. What was the most challenging thing about the scuba diving PADI course?
The most challenging thing about doing my PADI diving course, I was actually, when I did my open water, I was 11 years old, which made it quite challenging because I was getting used to a lot of things. And I have to say, no matter how old you are, I feel like the first, getting into doing that open water course is probably the most difficult one, just because you just need to get used to so many different things. You need to get used to breathing underwater and being underwater and the buoyancy. So it's just getting started. Once you get through that open water, then it just becomes like the advanced course is amazing, because then you get to try out different things like wreck diving if you want to do that. And night diving, which is my favorite type of diving. I had a really cool night dive recently in the Maldives, where I had so many black tip reef sharks just come along, and they don't like you pointing the torch at them. If you point the torch at a black tip reef shark, it's going to come straight for you. So don't do that if you see one on a night dive. Just sort of ignore it. But yeah, that's it. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent.
Brilliant. Thanks, Gio. Okay, we're going to go. Thanks, Plumpton. We're going to go next to Chichester College, I believe. Are you there? Let's see if we get Chichester unmute.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah,
fantastic. We can hear you.
Fantastic, thank you. You've now got lots of new followers on some of your social media channels. The guys here have been busily adding you. How do you manage your time then between obviously your day job, your diving, and your kind of role as an influencer?
Well, you know what? I've been really lucky. Is this on?
Yeah.
I've been really lucky because I've had the time of doing. I do what I do because of what my day job was. So I was working as a water sports instructor, and I was in the sea constantly every day, even throughout the colder months, which is a little not quite as fun as in the summer, but it's still really cool. So I spent quite a lot of time in the water, on the water, and I did work as a social media manager for the company as well. Which helped because I had my phone on me the whole time whilst I was out in the water. So any cool encounters, whenever I would spot dolphins and seals, I'd be filming them. And then I started doing snorkeling sessions through Brighton Water Sports as well, which I'm really grateful for. I'm still really close to them, and that's where my hatchery is as well. So it did really help to have a 9-to-5 job that was already in the element where I film, where I do all my filming. So that's why a lot of the films that I do are in Brighton or around the Brighton area instead of going a little bit further afield. So yeah, thank you for that question.
You. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chichester. We're going to go next to Basvik. Are you there, Basvik? Oh, sorry, Varndine. Apologies, Basvik. We'll come to you later. So Varndine's next. Are you there?
Yep. Good morning. We've got a question from Layla.
Yeah, what are some of the biggest environmental challenges facing marine life in the UK, and how can young people help make a difference?
Ooh, that's a really good question. That is a really good question. There's quite a lot. There's a lot that can be talked about with this. Obviously, I think the main one that people like to talk about is the problem that we have at the moment with sewage. I've never been personally affected, as in I've never been in the water here and felt ill. But obviously businesses have been affected. We've had working at Brighton Water Sports. I know a lot of people who are obviously scared of getting in the water, understandably so, that just don't come and don't do the session, don't come and do the session. So it's quite difficult. There's a lot of things that can be done, but it's quite hard for us individuals, obviously there's Surfers Against Sewage, which is really good. They're really good, and they've got their website that they tell you where to get in the water, where you shouldn't get in the water. But it's difficult. I think on an individual level, already going to the beach and let's say have like a rule of 5. You go to the beach, you collect 5 pieces of rubbish with you. You take everything that you've took to the beach with you back home with you or in a bin. So it's quite difficult. There is a lot of things that can be talked about. I feel like here in the UK, it's good to have a knowledge of what we have out there to help people try and respect what's out there more and our beaches more. It really is a lot of it, like in terms of plastic pollution, it's a massive issue in the summer. I feel like whenever I'm working there in those really hot days during heat waves, at the end of the day when everyone goes home, the beach is a mess. The beach does get really bad, and we do beach cleans, and you can get involved in beach cleans. And I see Life does beach cleans, or we do beach cleans at work. There's Leave No Trace Brighton, who are a really good page as well. But I think there's a lot of small things that can be done as an individual that make a big difference as overall in the overall scheme. So yeah, thank you for that question. That was a really good question.
Amazing. Thanks, Gio. Some great insights there. We're going to go next to our very own East Sussex College Eastbourne campus. Are you there, Eastbourne? Have you got a question, please, for Gio?
Yeah, my friend also wants to ask a question. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's all good.
We're a bit confused because some people you only seem to be getting like one question, and we're very eager. I just had a quick question about what sort of cameras you've been using to record stuff underwater.
Yeah, that's a good question. So before I started off filming actually with a GoPro Hero 7 Black. That's my first camera. All the older videos on all my accounts have been filmed with that camera. I've then upgraded to a GoPro Hero 11, which is quite a decent jump. And then now I've recently been working with Insta360. I've got an Insta360 Ace Pro, which is an action camera, so it's like a GoPro, but it does adjust the lighting and the color correction. I don't have to do quite as much color correction in the videos, which makes everything a lot easier, a lot less editing. And it's really, really simple to use. I've just got a camera and a stabilizer so that the video is not shaky. I've got it in slow-mo, and then I can just adjust it after when I'm editing. And it's so simple especially when you're free diving. When you do it the way I do it, when you just go from the beach and you spend 4 hours out in the water, you don't really want to carry anything really heavy, and the quality is still good. Like you've seen those videos that like decent quality. So yeah, that's just with those action cameras. But yeah, thank you for the question.
Brilliant, thanks, Gio. Okay, so and going back now to Basvik. See, I told you we'd come back.
Wait, no, they have another question.
Oh, they did have another one. Do we have time for another one? Yep.
I just wanted to ask
we'll
whether
have
you
two.
saw an orca before.
Say it again.
Have you ever seen an orca?
I was going to say that they're my favorite animals, but I've said that about 4 different animals. Okay, they're at the top of my bucket list, orcas, because they're I could talk about orcas for hours. They are the apex predators of the ocean. They will feed on anything. Well, there's different ecotypes of them, and they're all sort of speaking different dialects of languages, and they're so cool. And you get them here in the UK, you get them in Scotland if you're really lucky. I think the closest you can get to see orcas here in Europe is Norway. It's a very challenging trip. Obviously the water's freezing cold, but I would absolutely love to film orcas, and that's at the top of the bucket list. And it will happen. I will get in the water with orcas, or at least see them. It has to happen, but I've never seen them, unfortunately. But thank you for that. Thank you for mentioning them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eastbourne. Okay, so now we will go back to Basvik. Are you there? And have you got your question ready for Gio?
Working?
Yeah, we're on now.
We can hear you.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we've got a fair few business studies students in our audience and creative media production, so on. They're interested in just hearing a bit about your sort of journey to becoming a kind of successful online figure, basically, and an influencer. You know, they're kind of almost like the business side of it. That makes sense.
Yeah. First of all, I say I actually went to Basvik myself. That's the college I went to, and so it's nice to be talking to you guys now. But I basically started I had a friend of mine who went to Basvik who messaged me saying, your videos are great. You should post them regularly and have like an account that's separate to your like normal account and just post underwater videos on there. I thought, okay, I'll try that. And I tried doing that. And for a couple of months, it was sort of growing really slowly. And then summer came and I wasn't traveling at that time. And I went down for a dive in Lansing, I think the first one was. And I went down and I did a video in Lansing and I posted it and it blew up. And then after that, I posted maybe a couple of videos from the Maldives and they weren't doing quite as well. And then I went to Bognor and it blew up again. And I said, okay, there's a pattern here. So I started doing it in Brighton and I started doing it just in local waters. And it was just a progression, video after video. They'd get the views and then people would come in. And then that's when first few brands would approach me. And would do collaborations, and that is, I guess, I'd say the main income through doing this is through brand collaborations, and I think a lot of other people who work in social media will probably say the same. I guess. I mean, I'm still quite new to it. I've only been doing it since 2023. So yeah, it's growing. It's definitely growing, and it's going in the right direction. But it is those brand collaborations, and having more and more of them would be ideal but not because it's not more. I don't think about the money side of things, but it's just having that the money can then fund doing trips and filming more animals and getting in the water, and it's what I want to do. It's all I want to do. So, but yeah, thank you for that question, Basvik.
Amazing. I think that's all of our questions now. It only leaves us to say a massive thank you to Gio for his an amazing talk. And I know that there was probably tons more questions that everybody had that wanted to ask you. Enlightening, and I am petrified. Now, I know you say it's exciting, but for me, it's petrifying. The thought that there's 30 different types of sharks under the water as we swim in the English Channel. But amazing. Can everybody give Gio a massive round of applause and a big thank you. Fantastic. Gio, thank you. Do we have your AR experience to share?
I haven't actually seen the AR animals myself.
Okay. So. Oh, we will be doing an AR experience with Gio at the very end. But for now, we just want to thank everybody. We've been really delighted to host the first of these amazing events at East Sussex College at our Lewes campus. We hope you've all had a great time online as well. We're going to hand over now to Zoe Volks, who's going to tell you a little bit about the Landed app. And we want everybody to participate and get involved. So Zoe, over to you.
Hello. Wow, how incredible is Gio? His passion is amazing. I'm here to talk to you about a new job matching app. Now, you probably won't be able to find a social media job on the app, unfortunately, but most other jobs you will be able to find. So this is Landed. Take the hard work out of finding work. So it Landed as a brand new job matching app. It's government funded and it's designed specifically for people in further education. So all of you guys, everyone on all the other campuses, to find opportunities in Sussex. And it's, like I said, it's every college. That's over 50,000 learners. And I know you are obviously all in education, but it's such a great pool of people that are getting newly trained and going to be really ready for the workforce, or maybe it's an apprenticeship. Go to next. And this is what's really key, is that it's every opportunity. So even though you are still in your studies, it might be that you need work experience, or you want volunteering opportunities, a part-time job, seasonal work. And there's going to be apprenticeships on there of every level, and obviously careers at the end of it too. So some of the key features of it is that you can build your CV. So you can, as you create your profile, you download that as a CV, or you can just apply directly to a job with it. You can add your skills and qualifications, and the unique algorithm will match you to a local opportunity. You can find your personality type. So use the i3 personality profiling tool to find your potential as an individual. And it's local. This is all about being Sussex. So Landed is for Sussex businesses and for Sussex people. It's really about connecting you to the local businesses. Next slide. And then you can save all your favourite opportunities all in one place, so it's really easy to use. You get notified. So when an employer shortlists you or invites you to an interview or rejects your application, you get a notification on your phone immediately. And it saves that kind of being in the dark situation. So it's a really good sort of indicator as to where you could be on your employment journey. You can find every opportunity, as I said, so that's part-time work, apprenticeships, volunteering, and careers that all be on Landed. And you can get support. So all app users that are attending the college will be able to get access to career support and advice all on the app as well. Next slide, please. So if you can read the QR code, I'm inviting you as early access to download the app. So anyone in the room that can go, it can scan it. We are asking you to make sure you use your college email address. If you can't read the QR code, you can go to any of your app stores and just search Landed Jobs and you'll be able to download it. Now, this is early access. The main official launch is going to be in Careers Week next month. So in terms of opportunities, we're all getting them ready for that, but you can get on there now, register, create your profile, do the personality test, and just explore it and have fun with it. And then each college is going to be running a different sort of program as to getting you involved, and we'll be getting lots of employers involved too. So hopefully you all will enjoy it, and give us feedback how it's going. It's a really exciting project, and it's one that's funded the same with all these rooms and everything else. So good luck. Thanks very much.
Brilliant. And thank you so much, Zoe. Please make sure you do that, because it's going to be a real game changer in terms of how you connect with businesses. So for students, get on there early. And as more and more businesses come on board, you will be the first one to get your foot in the door for work experience, placements, and future career opportunities. There's not much more to do apart from another QR code, which we really encourage you to connect to. There's going to be a whole host of resources on there, which will help you following today's discussions. Please make sure you follow Gio on his social media and keep in touch with all his amazing, exciting activities. We've been delighted, as I said earlier, to host here at East Sussex College. Thank you very much. And we look forward to the rest in the series of these amazing LSIP-led events. Thank you. Fantastic. Yes, please. Okay, I think we can have some photos with Gio. So can we ask the first row of students? Can you all come and join us for that? Is that okay? Yeah. Well, yeah.
Jumping.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Oh, sorry.
Shall I turn this off now? Thank you. Just turn that off, I think.